All right, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. Rachel, thank you for co-hosting and letting people in. I'll keep everybody muted that's on Zoom for now. This is the regular Monday night meditation class here at Against the Stream. I guess I've been teaching this Monday night class on the west side for about 15 years, almost every Monday, since I moved to LA about 15 years ago. You've been coming since the beginning, Rick? Not quite, but pretty early. And happy to be here. Welcome, anybody that's new to our community. Welcome to Against the Stream. We are a Buddhist community, and my sense of being part of a Buddhist community or coming to a class is twofold. One, certainly an opportunity to learn and practice meditation, Buddhist meditation, and to learn about the teachings and how to apply them to our lives. And then the other is about Sangha, is community. The Buddha talked about taking refuge in the Dhamma, the truth that you can experience directly for yourself that will lead to your own awakening, to taking refuge in the Buddha, but also about taking refuge in community, the necessity of needing each other. Now, of course, in a time of pandemic, community has been disrupted for all of us in some ways. And so for the last, I don't know, is it 9 months, something like that, 7, 8 months, however long it's been, a lot of our community has been virtual or online. We're on Zoom. We've got 50-something people practicing with us at home. And even though you're at home, we're intentionally on Zoom so that at least you get some sense of the other 50 people in the room. And then there's about 6 or 7 people in the room here with me tonight. And somebody made a comment that said, 7 months or 74 months in dog years. Feels like a long time for many of us, many people. So we'll have a period of meditation. I'll give some meditation instructions, sitting meditation, and then I'll introduce a topic and do some talk, and we'll have some discussion. So find a way to sit that is upright and relaxed. Find a posture that feels like it's a posture you can sustain in relative stillness for the next 30 minutes. Allowing your eyes to be gently closed. Making any adjustments that would feel necessary or useful to your posture. We want to have a posture that is upright, spine erect, head balancing on the upright spine, the rest of the body relaxed, hanging loosely. Wear your body like a loose garment. No unnecessary tension in the belly or jaw or shoulders. Just enough resistance to gravity that we don't melt into a heap, and we sit upright. As we establish mindfulness, which is the practice of present time, non-judgmental, kind awareness, be sure to establish the intention of kindness, of friendliness, the intention to be accepting of your own mind, no matter how difficult, unruly, chaotic it may be. Acceptance of your body, even if it becomes uncomfortable, achy, agitated, anxious. And friendliness towards the pleasant and unpleasant experiences that will arise and pass through our awareness as we meditate. And remember the instruction of non-judgmental. We're not judging the experience, simply establishing awareness of, presence with, embodiment, developing intimacy, connected presence with our own moment-to-moment experience of the breath and body. Softening as many times as you need to. Soften the belly, release the shoulders, jaw, eyes. And bring attention to the breath. The Buddha's initial meditation instructions were something like breathing in, one nose, I breathe in. Breathing out, one nose, I breathe out. Where do you feel the breath? How do you know if the breath is coming or going? Of course, our attention is drawn away from the breath back into thinking about the future or the past. We simply redirect the attention, come back to the breath over and over, reestablish present time, non-judgmental, kind awareness of breathing. Some find it helpful to note in as you breathe in, out as you exhale. Over and over, returning, reconnecting. And if you're new to the practice, use the breath as the anchor, the home base. Not the only object, because there's so much more going on. The Buddha encourages us. Bring mindfulness to your whole being. Present time, inclusive, non-judgmental awareness. You can scan your attention through your body, feeling the sensations in the head and face. Arms and hands, and how the hands resting in the lap, the sensations created by contact. Bringing attention into the trunk of the body, the neck and chest and back, belly. Down into the pelvis, the genitals, buttocks, resting in the chair, couch, cushion. And legs, feet. This human body, physical form. Mindfulness of the body with the body. If you find that you're watching your body from the watchtower of consciousness that feels like it's located in your head, bring the attention down, descend down from the head through the eyes and face, neck. Bring your attention down into the body. And receive, feel with the body the rising and falling of the chest and belly with each breath. In this body, we find the four elements. And the Buddha taught that all of the Dharma, everything that we're seeking, all of the truth, all of the wisdom of reality that we're looking for, will be revealed right here in this body. The body includes the sense doors of seeing and hearing, smelling and tasting, of experiencing emotions, and includes the mind itself. Part of this body, a brain, consciousness, memory, perception. The more we investigate with our present time awareness, the more we understand the truth, the Dhamma of impermanence. How every sensation, every emotion, every thought, every sound is changing, is arising and passing. Rather than keeping your attention stuck with the breath, let it explore the body. When a sound calls for your attention, investigate that sound. Or a thought, know it as a thought. Is it a memory, a plan? Name it. What kind of mood is it? Is it pleasant? Happiness in the mind? Sadness? Anger? Fear? If something unpleasant is calling for your attention some pain in the knee or back, some unpleasant thought is repetitive, difficult emotion. Bring awareness, non-judgmental awareness, acknowledging this is unpleasant, this is painful. Try to breathe into it to soften around it. If something pleasant is happening in the body, heart, mind, acknowledge it. Second foundation of mindfulness. Bring awareness to the pleasant and enjoy it. Non-attached appreciation of the pleasant thought, feeling, sensation. What are you paying attention to right now? Is it a thought, the breath, sensation? Was it a story about the future, a plan, a hope, a worry? Or about the past? Returning to the initial intention of friendliness, kindness. Stop trying to meditate and just be friendly towards yourself. Relax the tension in your body and radiate loving kindness outward in all directions with the wish. May all beings everywhere experience ease and happiness, contentment and well-being. May all beings in existence be free from suffering. Did you find your keys, Doris? Did you look on the way in? I didn't look either. I forgot to. Okay. I hope so. Yeah. Before I get into tonight's topic, any questions about meditation, about the meditation instructions, about what we're doing, how we're doing it, what you're experiencing as you meditate? If you have a question at home, you can raise the hand through the, on your screen. There's a little, the dots give you a little raise hand option, I believe. Or under the participants. Please.
Sometimes I can go into like a zone, like a different state, and not quite go to sleep, but really my thoughts are quiet. And then other times, like tonight, I have a series of things going through my head that are going on. And I was just wondering, what is, like, should I mean, you can't force it, like you said, don't try to force the meditation. Is there a certain thing I should be doing to try to achieve that state?
Let me just repeat your question for the people at home. Probably couldn't hear you. Question was, a comment about sometimes when meditating, he experiences a kind of calm and pleasant experience. And then sometimes, like tonight, a bit busy, mind involved in all kinds of things and not so pleasant. Right? Good enough? And then the question is there something that we can do, that one can do, to create a more pleasant or calm experience to kind of help? Yeah? The answer might be yes. But so much of what we are learning with the non-judgmental awareness is that it's not really about what's happening. It's not really so much about whether or not your mind is calm or chaotic, whether or not your body is comfortable or uncomfortable. What I believe the Buddha is really teaching us is about accepting ourselves just as we are, including here I am with a busy mind with all kinds of worries and fears and doubts or resentments or whatever is happening, and accepting, you've probably heard me say, right now, in this present moment, it's like this. And it's uncomfortable and it's and the first foundation of mindfulness is bring our awareness to what's happening right now. And we do it with the breath. Breath is happening right now. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Sensations are happening right now. I'm feeling all of these different sensations in this body. Thoughts are happening right now. That's what's happening. Sometimes the mind can settle and be a bit quiet. And then right now it's like this. My mind's kind of quiet. But there's no need for the mind to be quiet in order to develop what we're trying to develop, which is wisdom and compassion and seeing clearly that whatever is happening, it's impermanent. No matter how pleasant it is, shit's not going to last. No matter how peaceful it is, not going to last. Bad news. Good news. No matter how painful it is, how chaotic, how anxious, how not going to last. It's going to arise and pass. It's going to change. I get the question. It's we all, it's, do you know what the second noble truth is? The second, the Buddha breaks it down like this. He says, the reason we suffer so much, all of us, is because we're born with this, it's just in all of us, this repetitive craving for life to be pleasant. It's not your fault, it's not personal, it's not, but then we bring that to meditation. I want meditation to be pleasant too. I didn't come here to have achy knees and a sore back and a loud mind. I came for some fucking bliss. I want some peace. I want some pleasure. I want shut the fuck up. I'm meditating. And your mind's like, no, go fuck yourself. I'm going to think about some stuff and I have some judgments and some fears and some doubts and some worries, and go ahead, meditate while I have a circus in my head. But equally, we can learn so much. My teacher, he's saying, especially when Ajahn Amaro, in this book we're studying right now, he said, especially when it's difficult, he talks about, some experiences are sweet, pleasant. Some experiences are bitter or spicy, depending on your relationship to spicy. I don't know. Some people like bitter, but like really bitter, Some they're just unpleasant. And then we think, I'm doing something wrong. If I was doing it all right, it would all be pleasant. If I was meditating correctly, my mind would be calm. It doesn't seem to be the case. You know, for instance, even here's one of my kind of scriptural, examples, is that even after the Buddha became fully enlightened, he said still his mind would attack him. He called the part of his mind that attacks Mara. He said, Mara keeps coming. I see through it. I'm awake. I have compassion for all living beings. I have non-attachment. I have I'm fully awake, but it doesn't stop Mara from coming. And so my sense is that if you have a human mind, if you're still incarnated in a body with a brain, you're going to experience afflictive emotions. You're going to experience doubts and fears. The difference between the Buddha, so I think this is important, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of Buddhists that would disagree with me, but this is my story. This is my perspective. Even enlightenment doesn't make your mind calm and peaceful all of the time. So of course for us, and you're pretty new to the practice, it's not going to be calm and peaceful all the time. If you get some sweetness in meditation and like sometimes it settles, great, enjoy that. But expecting that we're going to be able to always have a pleasant experience in meditation is so unrealistic. And again, even if you're fully advanced, liberated, your mind's going to continue to be a jerk sometimes. The difference, and maybe I don't know if I said this right, the difference between early stages of meditation, where we take it all personal, and we think, I am really suffering, and I am really, I'm really angry, and I'm really afraid, or, we're really so identified in early stages of meditation. The longer you meditate, the less you take it personal. And you say, like, oh, there's this shift from I, me, and mine, my mind, to, oh, that's just what's happening in the mind tonight. It's, it's worried. And maybe even, my mind is worried, or fear is present, or anger is present. And there's a shift where you start to, have some space from it, from the days and weeks and months of non-judgmental awareness, where you see like, oh, this isn't me, this isn't mine, this isn't my fault, this is just the human condition. The human condition is nervous, right? We have a nervous system. And, it's one of the functions of Sangha and of having teachers and teachings is to normalize it. Like, of course your mind's going to be stirred up sometimes. Of course your body's going to be uncomfortable. Of course you're going to have difficult emotions. The Buddha said his awakening wasn't that it got rid of all of that shit. It's just that he no longer took it personal and learned to establish a continuous mindfulness that didn't judge it and just said, oh, here comes Mara again. Hello, Mara, I see you. Here comes, doubt, fear, craving, judgment, and relating to the mind rather than taking it personal. And then you will come to the place where you can sit here in meditation and your mind is giving you all kinds of bad advice, really encouraging you to suffer about some stuff, saying, you know what they did to you? You know what they said about you? You know what those fuckers said on Facebook? And you can just be like, yeah, I know what they said on Facebook. Like, thanks for sharing, and just not get hooked by the mind's encouragement. Because the mind is so often saying, you should suffer about this. Isn't that usually what your mind is saying on one level or another? Remember what happened? You should suffer about that. You know what might happen in the future? You should suffer. You should worry about that. you should really suffer about something that could possibly happen at some point in the future. Because if that happens, that's going to be really painful. So you should suffer right now about what might be painful at some point in the future. And it's sort of ridiculous when we look at like, oh yeah, that is what my mind is doing. And I've been believing it and taking it personal, and I'm so identified with it, and I am so addicted to our own minds. This practice helps us break our addiction to our minds, but part of it is just learning to watch the circus. Not thinking that we have to tame every wild animal. One of my favorite images that's used is Ajahn Chah, my teacher's teacher. And and I say this all the time, forgive me, but it's one of my favorite images. He says, basically, what we're doing could be broken down to 2 words. Your whole spiritual practice, just 2 words. Let go. Non-attachment, let go. Let go of the past, be present. Let go of the future, be present. Let go of the anger, the hatred, the resentment. Be present, forgive, let go of the past. Be present. Let go of taking it all personal. I, me, mine, let go, just be present. Easier said than done, for sure. And then he breaks it down. He says, if you let go a little bit, you'll have a little bit of happiness in your life, a little bit of peace. Every time we let go, each moment that we let go. And letting go, why let go? Because everything's impermanent, and when we cling to impermanent thoughts, feelings, sensations, experiences, people, places, things, whatever it is we're attached to, we're attached to something that is being pulled beyond our grasp, and then we're creating suffering. So when we let go, it lets impermanence, it lets reality be reality rather than suffering about reality. It says if you let go a lot, you're going to experience, imagine just for a moment, all of us, if you let go a lot of the past and all of the mistakes you've made and ways you've been hurt, and how free would you be? How happy would you be if you could really, really let go a lot of the past? Really be here. Really let go of worrying about and trying to figure out and craving for a certain outcome in the future. If you could really let go a lot, he says, you would have a lot of happiness. You have a lot of feelings of contentment and well-being, a lot of peace. Now, peace, again, even saying the word peace, doesn't mean that your mind is going to be peaceful all of the time. You'll just be at peace with your mind. Right? Peace doesn't mean zero conflict. It just means being at ease with conflict, being at peace in the midst of the shit show we call life, existence, planet Earth. Being at peace with it doesn't mean that all of a sudden it's kumbaya. And then the last piece, he says, if you let go absolutely, complete non-clinging, non-identification, non-resistance, total and absolute letting go, is that then you'll know the happiness of the Buddha, of being awake. Is it, and when you're awake, he uses the term mind. He says your mind, and I don't love this, but he says your mind will become peaceful and tranquil like a still forest pool. Just take a moment and think about, you ever been in a jungle and there's just a still forest pool, or you're out somewhere and you just come along and there's just this placid lake. And it's so peaceful. He says, your mind will become like that. But then he uses this image. He says, and all kinds of strange and wonderful animals will come to drink from the stillness. And I think that that image is the most important, because almost everybody brings this delusion to meditation that I'm going to have this placid stillness, that's the goal, that I'm just going to be, empty of thought. Strange and wonderful animals are lust and fear and doubt and worry coming to drink from the stillness, right? But when your heart, your mind, your liberated, non-attached being is developed, is uncovered, is recovered, then you're not perturbed by doubt, by fear, by lust, by anger. Because it's just it's like you're so familiar with it. You're like, oh yeah, it's a moose and a caribou and there's a lion over there drinking and there's a shark in those waters. But you're not, because you're just so familiar with your own mind, so intimate with it. It's just a strange and wonderful emotion that you know which ones you can pet and which ones you shouldn't pet. Which ones to give a little, those ones will eat you if you try to play with them too much. Fire will, hatred will burn you. It's a fire, it's hot. Doesn't mean it's going to go away. You're going to just non-judgmental. Oh, yep, there's a fire burning over there, side of the lake. I know I'm going on and on. I started with saying there probably is a technique. You asked for a technique and I gave you a lecture. I hope it's helpful because I'm trying to normalize it. But also, yeah, there's some technique, which is you can be a bit more strict with coming back to the breath, disengaging over and over every time you get caught in the mind. Just really trying to background those thoughts, those doubts, those worries. Background it, foreground, breath, body. Strict posture. Come back. Even if it's a half a breath and then you get back into the argument in your head, back to the breath. Argument, back to the breath. Worry, back to the breath. And the more you come back, the likelier that some of that stuff will settle. Sometimes it just won't settle. You just have to ride it out. But again, and I will say this over and over, meditation's not about getting rid of our thoughts and emotions. It's about changing our relationship to them. Sometimes, actually, I think it's more beneficial to have unpleasant meditative experiences than it is to have pleasant meditative experiences. And I have gone so far, and I'll continue to say that actually, if your meditation is pleasant all of the time, you're not doing it right. You're using meditation as an avoidance technique, not as what Buddhist meditation is for, which is developing wisdom and feeling your pain and healing it. So if it feels good all of the time, you're just checking out. That's not what Buddhist meditation is about. It's about checking in. It's about embodiment with our sorrow as well as our joy. And if you're, always just sorrow, suffering, you could incline your mind towards some joy and to like have a little sense of humor with it. Lighten up a little bit if it's all heavy all of the time. We can make some adjustments. We have some participation with our experience. Some influence over our experience, not control. All right, sorry for going on and on. Michael, last question about meditation, and then I'll introduce a topic.
Thanks, Noah. It's more of a commentary. thanks for going on and on, because it's landing really good. Because the whole idea of like allowance, acceptance, and spaciousness, and kind of like little by little turning away from the I, me, mine, and no matter what the feelings are, like good, bad, neutral, shitty, depressed, angry, like the whole entire spectrum, I find when I just realize there's space for it all, and I accept that, and I treat it with like kindness and non-judgmental awareness, like there truly is room for it all, you know. And I think what you're talking about tonight is just landing really like heavy on me, and I'm grateful for it. And a believer, because when I first started meditating, you know, and it hasn't been that long, it's just been since the beginning of the year, it was all so counterintuitive, and I was super skeptical, and just didn't think, you know, any of it could land or take root in me, and it really has. And I remember first hearing about, you know, I see you, Mara, and, you know, I think learning that, you know, that could, you identified, you know, the craving or the temptation, and I was so fucking skeptical of that. Like that alone isn't gonna fucking like knock you off the track of being like seduced into something bad. But you know, the more I go into the Dharma, and the more like you go into spaciousness and accepting all things and changing your relationship to it, it does work. I've used it, and it really does work, you know, in my own experience, you know. And then I've been going through like dialectical behavior therapy, and I see how the Dharma and like clinical dialectical behavior therapy talks about a wise mind, the middle road. And it's really amazing to see not only the Dharma and like a clinical therapy like meet in the middle of the road and join hands, but just to see like recovery pathways do the same thing. So I'm just grateful for the share tonight. It really landed good.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. Glad to see you. Please, Judy. Last.
I just want to make a quick comment on that. Going back to the basics like you did today, it's fabulous to constantly rehear it and make it okay. But I think what I really enjoy about it is once I'm in the streets and these emotions and feelings and people like stop in front of me before, and then I rear end them and I'm cussing them out. I always know at this point, and which is so nice, is that I could stay calm right now, and that I can handle the situation calmly, peacefully, and with compassion. I could say, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
So it's wonderful to hear this.
Thanks. Yeah, there's the, it is the basics, but I feel like kind of all Buddhism is pretty basic. There's one place where the Buddha says, or it's said that the Buddha said that if it's actually the Buddha's teaching, it's simple enough to be understood by a 7-year-old. And that when it starts getting too complicated, it's you know, human beings complicating things. Like there's craving, there's attachment, there's aversion. That's how we cause, like, let go, right? Ajahn Chah, so brilliant, like a 7-year-old, you know, let go. You're clinging to let go. Like that's the teaching. And then, you know, there's people that want to call it Buddhist psychology and complicate it. And I'm guilty of that. I'm about to be guilty of it right now, because I said that I would talk about Anatta, which is one of the core tenets of Buddhism. Let's see if I could explain it to a 7-year-old. I mean, here's what I'm thinking is that I just want to frame it like this. We are born. Let's start with birth. We're born into a state of ignorance and just a self-centered state of being. That there's something about human evolution, the way that our, you know, species has evolved, where we're just born into this sense of I and me and mine. I don't know when the last time you were around any babies, but babies are fucking self-centered. You ever notice how self-centered babies are? They think it's all about them. So needy and clingy. Right? Nobody taught them that. They're just naturally that way. You're just born needy and clingy. And then it doesn't change much, does it? We kind of stay that way for the rest of our lives. But the older we get, the more we start to take it personal, the more we start to think, oh, I shouldn't think of, like, and then you starting Buddhism, and Buddhism says, like, stop being so self-centered. But you just live with a human mind that is self-centered. There's some statistics about how many thousands of thoughts a day we have about ourselves. We have this brain, this big evolution, evolved human neocortex. It's what sets us apart from most other species. Conscious, aware of the past, aware that there's a future, able and beautiful, like our human minds. What an amazing thing that we can remember, that we can plan, that we can be creative, art, music, poetry. Like, it's amazing what we can do with these brains. I don't want to give the brain a bad rap, but isn't almost all of your suffering created by your brain? Other than the immediate acute pain that we are in sometimes, when sometimes like something really unpleasant is happening, and other than those moments where actually when it's happening, all the rest of our suffering in life is about remembering the past, and we call it trauma. All of the painful, aversive, difficult experiences we had in our minds, replaying them over and over. Or fear of the future, that survival instinct, fight or flight or freeze. So my sense is that it's a setup. We're born, not only like the Four Noble Truths being true, like there's all of this suffering, there's all of this pain and living in impermanence and grief and loss and sorrow. All of that's just reality. And then there's this self-centered craving. I want to be comfortable. I want pleasant experiences. I don't want any pain. I'm not good at tolerating discomfort. I want to be pampered and coddled. And I want positive attention all of the time. Please change my diaper. Oh, sorry, too much. Yeah, right. We all want that. Like, that's just natural. And but then we start mindfulness, and we start to look at, like, what's going on here? Okay, there's all of this craving, and as I was saying before in the beginning, it's really, we take it quite personal. Like, oh, I have all of this craving. I am so self-centered. I am so afraid. And then you start to unpack it, and like, well, where is this I? What part of me is it that is clingy, needy, afraid, angry, judgmental, inflated, deflated? Where is this self? And the Buddha asks us, he says, unpack what's really going on here. So if you want to wake up, you have to see clearly reality. We're not born seeing reality, as part of, like, we're born in a self-centered delusion and this mind that creates a self. And the more you meditate and start to unpack it and turn towards what's going on here, inquire, investigate. Who am I? What am I? What part of my experience is self? The Buddha says, And you'll experience directly, you know, the teaching is, and we can directly experience this, that everything, I said in the meditation, the Dharma will be revealed here in this body. Everything that we've ever been looking for, the truth, liberation, happiness, the ability to be at peace in the midst of pleasure, pain, or neutrality, all of that here is inside of us. And there's not an external solution. There's no external refuge. There's nowhere to find it. You can't learn it from a book. Although a book might teach you to go inside. The Buddha's teaching is go inside. Look at your own mind. Look at your own heart. Look at your own direct experience. And you'll see three things. You'll see that everything is impermanent. Have you experienced anything permanent yet in this incarnation? It's all arising and passing, changing. Every thought. You ever had a thought that never went away? You ever had a feeling that never went away? I heard something a little while ago that said, on average, even the strongest emotions only last for 90 seconds. You ever feel like, I was fucking pissed off all day. I was sad for a week. It's never true. Even the strongest emotions arise for about 90 seconds and can sustain, and like, I'm really mad for a minute and a half. I'm really sad for a minute. And then it passes because it's impermanent. And then it re-arises. And oh no, I'm pissed off again. Gone. Angry again. Gone. You know, and we can get in a cycle of afflictive emotion and difficult, but it's always impermanent. Sometimes it's, you know, craving, the second noble truth. Craving is repetitive. That's why it's a problem. If you just had a craving once in a while, no big deal. But you have like millions of cravings a day. That's why it makes your life stressful. Because it's a pretty constant, repetitive, impermanent cycle that we're kind of always in. I always, you know, no matter what's happening, doesn't your mind kind of say, this is good, but it could be better if? Even when it's really good. You ever been having like the best meal of your life and you're like, more salt? How about some hot sauce? You know, like just like, I can, whatever it is, I could make it better. Just a little more hot sauce. So all things are impermanent. Impermanence is the key here to this teaching where we're going anatta, not self. He says all things are impermanent. And you see that directly, you know it. You know it's true in your mind, don't you? I feel like it's so, everybody gets this. We just don't really get it. You hear it, you're like, yeah, that has to be true. But I don't live my life in harmony with the reality that everything's changing. Because if I did, I'd stop clinging. Right? Then Ajahn Chah's teaching of let go would be, oh, it's impermanent. Fuck yeah, I'm going to let go. Because when I don't, it hurts. And I don't want to hurt. But it's not that. We're so wired to cling, repetitive craving, repetitive clinging. But the reality is it's all impermanent. That's why we're suffering so much. We're trying to hold on to create experience that we can't make it last. And because it's all impermanent, there's no true lasting satisfaction to be found outside of ourselves. Nothing's reliable. Because you can't, how could you rely on something that's impermanent? How can you rely on someone that's subject to sickness, aging, and death? Impermanence. I mean, we can temporarily, but not for long term. No experience is truly satisfying because it's going to end. Connected with, and again, how liberating would it be if you really lived your life in harmony with not trying to take hostage impermanent, unreliable experiences? And you just said, hey, this is wonderful as long as it lasts, rather than I got to keep it. This connection, this relationship, this friendship, this experience, we want to take it, we want to take it hostage, rather than saying, oh, it's beginning, middle, end. It's impermanent. It's unreliable. It's uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if this relationship's going to last for the next 50 years or it's going to be over tomorrow. Can't rely on it for the next 50 years. You might have the hope, the intention, the desire for this relationship, this connection, this meditation center, whatever we want. Like, yeah, I want to see this here in 50 years, but we'll see. It's uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen. And then when we really bring this understanding of impermanence inwards and we start to unpack what's really happening here. Okay, there's a body. Do you have a body? Physical form. And what do you find in this body? A brain that has, first there's the sense doors. This body sees and it hears and it smells and it tastes. It experiences emotion, somatically embodied joy and sorrow. Is your body yourself? Is that your identity? Is your body permanent or permanently changing? Molecular biology says something about how because of impermanence of the molecules and atoms in our body and the cellular regeneration, there's almost nothing left. Some would say every 7 years, brand new body. Are you the same body that you were when you were a kid? Is it still you? Think about 10 years. I was just reflecting on, I'm about to turn 50. Well, not for a few more months, but I'm looking at 50s coming. And I was talking to a friend about my 40th birthday party and about how we went to Tahoe together. And there was like 6 or 7 people there. And we were talking about how half of them are now dead to me and half of them are still very close friends, and just about the big change in that. But anyways, that's another tangent. But 10 years ago, thinking about 10 years, and I think, oh, I'm that same guy that turned 40 10 years ago. But nothing that was in my body at that time is here now. All of those cells have regenerated. And it's about a 7-year cycle from what I understand. But we still think, I'm that same guy. There's a self that has to be continuous there. But all that really remains from our past, especially over the years, is mental impressions. We have this brain. Even the brain, all of this, it's constantly regenerating. It's not the same solid, continuous. It's growing. It's decaying. It's doing whatever it's doing. But what remains is memories, these impressions of, since I can remember the past, I think I'm the same person. I know I've changed some and all of that, but it's still me. I was 40. That was my birthday. And now same person, am going to turn 50. The Buddha says if you really look, you'll see that this I is a fabrication. The self is a process, is impermanent, is not solid, is not fixed, it's not continuous. It is a process that is unfolding. But because of memory and consciousness and this physical form, we create a delusion of a permanent self. And we bring that delusion of a permanent self into our activities. And it's one of the reasons why we take everything so fucking personal. Like if I really understood impermanence and not self, would I be worried about what happened last year? That was not even, that's like a different person. That was last year. Right now, it's like this. But my mind keeps reminding me, remember what happened last year? Remember what they said about you? Remember what they did? It's just thoughts. Just memories. So there is not a, right? This is the teaching Anatta. Everything is impermanent, unreliable, and the way I like to frame it, and most of you have heard me, impersonal. And the more we can understand that it's not so personal, that there's not so solid I, me, mine, just doesn't serve us. It creates more suffering for us. The more we can loosen our identification with the past, with the past selves, the more we can wake up to this unfolding process of consciousness and perception and just see them as memories. The stories. Now, of course, those memories, those stories, those experiences that we've lived through are alive here in the present. Here, we are the sum of all of those experiences. They've created us, our personalities, our attitudes, our outlooks. This is a little bit of a aside, but I remember one teacher said, and this is more about karma. He said, you want to understand your karma? You got questions about your karma? Look at your, if you want to understand your past karma, look at your present experience. Because you're experiencing your past karma here now. What you've been doing for the last 10 years, 20 years, is manifesting right now in your attitude towards your own mind, in your relationship towards your own emotions. If you've been meditating for the last 10 or 20 years, your relationship to your mind, to your emotions, you've developed wisdom. If you haven't been, and you've been looking for happiness in sense pleasures and in drugs and alcohol and in, the material world, and then you're here going stressed out, going like, wow, I'm fucking stressed out. The world really did not provide the happiness I was hoping it was going to provide. I said, if you want to understand your future, you want to know where you're going, you want to know what the future is going to be, your karma is going to be like, look at your present actions. How are you behaving today? How are you relating to your own mind, to your emotions, to the memories? This is, we have a lot of influence over where we want to go, how we want to be, how we want to learn to show up. And a huge part of this is learning to not take it all so personal. And the thing about not taking it personal is that it's not your fault that you take it personal. That's why I was teasing all of us about, we're like babies, these self-centered babies, which are beautiful, by the way. I love children. Not dissing them. Love it. And being a parent, I'm a parent, is such a wonderful practice in generosity, such a wonderful teaching in, taking care of others and breaking our self-centeredness. Such a wonderful experience. And it's hard and it's stressful at times. In the class yesterday, we were reading Ajahn Amaro's book, The Breakthrough. He was talking about how in order to really deepen and, practice, the Dharma, this path, this awakening path, he said we have to try to remove the I, me, mine, because how it will even get involved in our meditation. I want my meditation to be like this. I am going to get enlightened. And this path calls for so much effort and so much action and against the stream, counterintuitive, counterinstinctual practice. And part of our instinct is to I, me, mine. And he's just saying, like, if you can take that off, wear it a little bit more loosely. Of course, there's something healthy about having a desire for liberation. And it is on the relative level, me. I want to be free. But understanding that that I that wants to be free is this impermanent unfolding process. It's not the same that was a child, that was an adolescent, that was a young adult, that was at that birthday thing 10 years ago. It's not the same being. It's a process that's unfolding. Anatta, not permanent self. Now, sometimes Buddhism presents it as there is no self. And then it gets a little bit more confusing. I don't even want to go down that path. There is a self. I talked about a couple, maybe it was last week or the week before, saying there's no self is like saying there's no such thing as a rainbow. You get it? Is there a such thing as a rainbow? Are rainbows real? They're a real phenomena that we have all seen. And if there's the proper amount of moisture and light, it will create a rainbow. The self is the same way. If you have a human mind and body and memory and consciousness, it will create a self. Now, the more you meditate, the more you'll know, yeah, it feels like there's a self here, but I see the rainbow. I think about I, me, mine. That phenomena exists here, but I know that it's just these conditions coming together to create this optical illusion of permanent self. Does that make sense? Rainbows are real, everybody. It's a real phenomena. The self is a real phenomena that the human mind creates. But it's not tangible. You can't touch it. You can't say, that's me. Certainly not these physical bodies that are continuing to age without our permission. Gravity winning every time. Not this mind that doesn't obey you much. Not this consciousness that's just the backdrop to all of it, that's just knowing all of it. It's all impermanent. It's all unreliable, and it's all not permanent self. Anyways, these are my reflections on the Dhamma for tonight. I hope they were helpful. And if it makes sense, great. Apply it to your life. Get free. And if it doesn't make sense, come back next week. Maybe I'll make more sense. Just before I end, I saw a question earlier that I didn't get to. The core of the question from Amanda is, I feel the effects of equanimity spilling over into daily life, and this is what I've always wanted. But now I feel scared that losing the intensity of my emotions is going to make me soft, boring, etc. Can you speak to this conflicted mind state and experience? I don't know how much I can speak to it, Amanda, but I can relate to it really well. I felt the same way when I started meditating And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get so boring and soft and turn into a real fucking hippie. I'll be wearing tie-dyes in no time, Brian. It has not been my experience. I think I actually got more honorary. The more equanimity, the more compassion, the more kind of not taking it all so personally, which helps us not take it all so seriously. It hasn't, you know, I know you've been practicing with us for a couple months, Amanda. I think I'm the wrong person to ask, or maybe the right person to ask, but I don't think that being kind, being equanimous, being generous makes us lose our edge at all. That it actually, in so many ways, becomes this radical act of defiance in this world of self-centered confusion and reactivity and cancel culture. Take them down. Being equanimous and just being like, oh, well, let's talk to each other and let's listen to each other and let's be friendly to each other. It makes you a fucking revolutionary, not soft. It makes you very radical, I think, in this world and in all times in history. And it feels especially pertinent these days. So, but you'll have to find out for yourself. If you get really soft and boring, you let us know that you want your suffering returned, full guarantee. I'd rather be stressed out and cool than relaxed and lame, uncool. There is, this class is done by donation. And there's a $15 suggested donation for Against the Stream. Against the Stream's a nonprofit. We pay a bunch of rent to be in this building. Please help us pay the rent by making a donation. If you're at home, you can donate online. In the chat, Rachel has posted againstthestream.com/donations. If you're in person, you could drop some money in the bowl, or there's the Venmo is on the thing. Venmo is on the desk, the thing. There are the new, I don't have one, I've got the Refuge Recovery ones. There's these new bandanas that I made as a fundraiser for Refuge Recovery, and there's also Against the Stream ones. I think they're available at refugerecovery.org, the Refuge ones. Did you guys get them up, Rachel, on the site yet?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, so get your Refuge ones tomorrow. Against the Stream, I have them available here, and they're available on the Against the Stream site for these, you know, cool face mask. The Against the Stream ones are cooler than the Refuge ones. Not really, actually. I like them both. So please be generous if you can, and know that you're welcome to be part of our community, whether or not you have money to donate. We are here to share the Dharma free of charge, but of course there's expenses. So help us if you can. Any goodness that comes from our practice, any merit that's developed, any blessings be shared out in all directions with all beings. May each one of us learn to see clearly and respond wisely. And together may we create a positive change on this planet.